Hey everyone, my name is Matt. I'm with 12 Volt Fab, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about trickle chargers and some cool installation things. I have a battery tender here with me today. That's kind of like the Kleenex brand of battery tending, trickle chargers, float charging, battery maintainers, all that genre of things. I mean, the difference between a charger and a maintainer, while they both charge, a maintainer will automatically cycle or float depending on the technology to keep a battery ready to go. A manual battery charger won't necessarily turn off and could actually cause some real problems if you leave it on for an extended period of time. There are some, most of the actual new chargers though aren't actually manual, even though they may say it. They've got some smart features in them like reverse polarity protection, automatic turning off when they get up to charge voltage. I've had some issues, kind of a mixed bag with them. I found that if your battery is actually really dead, like DED, dead, you're gonna probably have to jump start that with another car to get it to charge on your battery charger because it doesn't recognize it as a battery's connected to it, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of a battery charger. Let's switch over to the workbench. I'm going to show you some different ways of installing them that makes them a little bit easier to use, a little bit more practical, and generally just a better all-around install than what you get when you open your box and you see what originally comes with it. So let's check it out. All right, welcome everyone to the bench. So what I've done here is immediately started modifying something as soon as I've taken it out of the box. So bear with me here. This is the cable that actually supplies the 12 volts, or voltavos in Spanish, to the battery. This originally had a 2-pin connector on it. I went ahead and snapped that off. I don't like using the clamps. I think that's a cheesy installation method. I like to use ring terminals. I also like to install an inline fuse holder. And remember, if you're going to be extending these out for like a battery compartment on a boat or an RV or anything like that, you want to install your inline fuse holder far as back as possible. So I'd actually recommend it back here. But since this is literally just going to be sitting right next to a battery like this, I'm not really too concerned in this installation of placement. I just wanted some sort of fuse protection in there. The other thing I immediately cut off as soon as I got it out of the box was its actual power cord that plugs into the wall. Let me explain this one a little bit more. I don't like using the dongle, I guess you'd call it, that comes with these chargers. There's nothing wrong with it. It works fine, looks good. It just makes it a little hard to use from a charging standpoint of pulling your vehicle in, pulling your boat in, pulling whatever in, pulling whatever out. Yeah, that's what I meant. It just makes them a little bit harder to use. For instance, if you have this in your trunk of your car and you want to plug your car in as soon as you get home, you've got to then pop your trunk, plug everything in, or if it's under your hood, which I actually don't recommend under hood installations. These don't seem to like that. I've actually never found a good battery tender that works exceptionally well under hood, but that's something else. The best method I've actually found to install these from an ease of use standpoint are these little things. You could call them a flange mount or a panel mount, 120 volt connector. They're designed to either screw in with a big lock nut or actually have some small screws around the perimeter. But you can mount this in your trunk floor, on the edge of your battery compartment. You can mount it in the bottom of a quarter panel. You can even grab some brackets that they have on some of the ones that come on Amazon, and you can mount it under your rear bumper. It's a cool installation I've done a long time ago. But either way, it makes it so much easier to plug your car in or vehicle in or whatever in whenever you get home. It makes it so I'll actually use it versus before where I would just not use it. Okay, she's all tightened down. Looks good. We got our wires on the proper sign. Green goes to green. It's actually hard to see in the photo, but this screw terminal actually has like a green lining on it. Makes it super simple. All you do is shove the wires in there, screw them down, and there you go. You've got it ready to go and wire in. Again, I've made it so you can plug it in like this. Remember though, if you don't end up using some sort of plug here, and you're using a panel mount like this, you're gonna need to leave these wires disconnected while you slide it through the hole you've drilled or bracketry you've made, and then connect it to the unit. If you connect it now, you're going to have a real bad day trying to shove your battery tender through a hole that's designed for this. And you're gonna realize your mistake and just stare at it for a couple seconds and just give up. I would just go home. I do it all the time. So let's take this problem over to the car and see what we can do there. As you can see, there's a lot of baggage happening around this whole area of the car. This is definitely my project that I've... Yep, so what we're trying to do here is we're going to be mounting this flange up into this metal. It makes it super convenient, so you can just walk back here to plug it in and charge your car. Another good place is down here, actually tucked back behind the bumper, where I have just random wires hanging down. Again, makes sense. Plugging it in here. The one word of warning I will be about doing anything in this area: if you've got a gas tank nozzle hiding back there, make sure you have a non-vented gas tank nozzle. You don't want to be plugging anything in near an area that would be venting. On this car, I've verified and I've installed a non-vented gas cap, and I know that the venting is actually all the way over there in a charcoal canister. On another video, I can show you actually how to install one of those if you guys are interested. I was tired of my garage constantly smelling like a gas tank. But just something to think about. That could be in any compartment or wherever you're mounting one of these, that you really don't want to be sparking around gasoline. Unless you have an engine. And then you'd like to be sparking around gasoline, because that would make it run. So anyways, you need to get this in here. And the easiest way to get this in here is to keep jabbing at it, and you'll find a way. The other way to do it is to grab your good old-fashioned hole dozer, which is a weird name for something, but whatever. You could measure it and do all that kind of fun stuff, but I found if you just load it into a drill and kind of eyeball what you're doing, you'll get there. That's a little close to the other hole, but perfect. I rearranged our view a little bit so we can get a good look at this. We're kind of looking up at the bumper. So the good news about this spot is that from the rear view of the car, you can't see this at all, which is why I love putting them in the license plate frame area. I've checked it with my license plate. It still swings perfectly fine. We're right up against this. It's going to help cover up those wires that looked not so good anyways coming down from there. And it's super easy to get to plug an extension cord in. So this is just an all-around good spot. Let's go up to the trunk and I will show you how the installation is going on that side. I wanted to show an up-close view of how we mounted this in this installation. It's got 3 machine screws all the way around it. This is my favorite way of installing it. Another way of installing it is they come with a big lock ring. Maybe, I guess, a big nut is a better way of putting it. They just thread on there. It works good on a flat panel installation. But when you have a little bevel like it does here, the camera's kind of flattening it out, but it is actually like a slight curve here. The lock rings will kind of not grab 100%, especially when you put an extension cord in it and you don't get it perfectly lined up. You'll end up twisting it and then the whole assembly will come loose and you're just going to be generally unhappy with it. Go ahead and throw at least one in there, even if you do the lock ring method. That way it keeps it straight and it doesn't give you any problems when you try to pull the extension cord out. We've got her all in. We've got power, ground, run the 110 volt wires, connected all up. One last thing, I really wish these boxes had some sort of mounting solution or bracket already installed on them. They really don't. I don't like the fact that they would just bounce around on you. This one has Velcro actually holding it down. I've actually removed the female side of the Velcro and there's only the male scratchy side on it, and it holds it like glue. to any kind of the felty speaker box style trunk carpets. It doesn't really work on regular carpet. If you had just a metal trunk, you could always just use the Velcro in the male and female side and stick it down. But don't not mount those. They'll roll around on you. You don't want them touching any power cables or anything like that. But let's go ahead and turn this extension cord into a trickle charger. And we've got action. When she's actually charging, it thinks the battery's low, it'll go red. When it goes into its green standby, that means it's actually turning into its float trickle charger mode, and that's what we'll want to see. It'll charge it up for a little bit, but it's working, it's good, it's done. I'm out of here. If you like the video, please hit subscribe, like, and give us a comment. Let's talk about this.